According to AFP, a rare and striking scene has unfolded in Cambodia in recent days, as hundreds of people hurriedly fled notorious compounds suspected of hosting online scam operations. Dragging suitcases, computer monitors, laptops, personal belongings, and even pets, they formed a chaotic exodus that began almost immediately after the country's most wanted scam kingpin was arrested and deported. Amid the turmoil, roads surrounding the coastal city of Sihanoukville, long regarded as the epicenter of Cambodia's casino and entertainment industry, became unusually congested. One after another, groups of people departed the Amber Casino complex, using every means of transport imaginable, from tuk-tuks and passenger buses to luxury Lexus SUVs. The sight of high-end vehicles moving through an atmosphere of palpable anxiety revealed a stark contrast between the glossy exterior of these developments and the fear etched on the faces of those leaving. Amber Casino has long been considered one of Cambodia's most notorious hotspots for human trafficking and online fraud. For years, it has been widely suspected of serving as a base for international criminal syndicates, operating scam networks under the cover of casinos, hotels, and resort complexes. A Chinese national who had just left the area told AFP, on condition of anonymity, that scam facilities were now in complete disarray. According to him, fear of imminent crackdowns had made it impossible for anyone to feel safe enough to continue working as before. Sihanoukville is not alone. Similar scenes have been reported at multiple compounds across Cambodia over the past week, following the government's announcement of a large-scale campaign to crack down on the online scam industry that has persisted for years. Local residents say that many workers inside heavily guarded buildings had already left several days earlier, suggesting that information about the impending raids may have been leaked. This allowed those involved to arrange their escape routes before law enforcement forces arrived. From scam centers based across Southeast Asia, these criminal networks have extended their reach worldwide. They employ sophisticated scripts to lure victims into fake romantic relationships or fraudulent cryptocurrency investment schemes, with the ultimate goal of stealing their assets. Initially, such operations mainly targeted Chinese-speaking communities, but over time they expanded rapidly into other languages and markets, causing losses estimated at tens of billions of dollars annually on a global scale. The individuals involved in carrying out these scams come from vastly different backgrounds. Some participate voluntarily, motivated by financial gain, while many others, foreign nationals in particular, are trafficked, detained, and forced to work under threats of violence or severe punishment. Following the high-profile arrest in Cambodia and the deportation to China of Chen Zi, a scam boss sanctioned internationally, the scale and brutality of these networks have come into sharper focus. AFP journalists who visited several sites suspected of hosting scam operations in Sihanoukville found that most people still inside the casinos, hotels, and related facilities refused to speak, citing fears for their personal safety. A Bangladeshi man standing outside Amber Casino said that the Chinese company employing him had ordered all staff to leave immediately without offering any explanation. With rows of casinos, hotels, and unfinished high-rise buildings, a resort city once promoted as a luxury destination has gradually transformed into a hub for online scam operations. Thousands of people were drawn into a tightly controlled underground economy operating behind the fortified walls of these compounds, where the boundary between legitimate business and criminal activity became increasingly blurred. Before being charged by U.S. authorities in 2025, accused of using the Prince Group he founded as a front for a transnational cybercrime network, Chinese businessman Chen Zi owned and operated numerous major hotels and casinos in Sihanoukville. For a long time, he was regarded as a key figure shaping the city's economic landscape and urban development. According to a 2025 report by Amnesty International, 22 scam sites were identified in Sihanoukville alone, out of a total of 53 across Cambodia. This highlights the extraordinary concentration of such criminal activity in the coastal resort city. Meanwhile, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime estimates that global losses from online scams reached approximately $37 billion in 2023, and that at least 100,000 people in Cambodia alone are directly involved in related activities. Despite this, the Cambodian government insists that the era of lax oversight has come to an end. Prime Minister Hun Manet declared on Facebook that authorities would eliminate all issues related to online scam crimes in the near future. Cambodia's Anti-Scam Committee reported that over the past 6 months, law enforcement agencies have raided 118 suspected scam sites and arrested around 5,000 people, demonstrating the growing intensity of the crackdown. Following Chen Zi's deportation to China, the Cambodian government also tightened control over several Prince Group subsidiaries, ordered the liquidation of Greenbank, and froze property sales at a number of luxury real estate projects. These moves were widely interpreted as a hardline signal against economic structures suspected of being linked to transnational crime. However, the simultaneous shutdown of online scam centers is creating major disruptions, not only in terms of security, but also for Cambodia's public finances in the short and medium term. For many years, online scam operations, despite their criminal nature, operated alongside a seemingly legitimate economic ecosystem. Casinos, hotels, residential complexes, and real estate projects were officially registered, paid taxes, and generated revenue for local authorities. In places like Sihanoukville, a significant portion of tax revenue has come from casino licensing fees, property taxes, accommodation services, corporate income taxes, and levies related to foreign labor. A substantial share of this revenue was directly or indirectly linked to scam centers hidden behind legal business facades. When these complexes are abandoned en masse, business activity grinds to a halt, and the outflow of people delivers a double blow to local budgets: the loss of regular revenue streams and increased costs for law enforcement, security management, and social fallout. A critical issue is that many businesses connected to scam operations continued to pay taxes on paper, even though their core activities were illegal. As a result, state finances became accustomed to a distorted yet stable source of income over many years. Once the crackdown intensified, these businesses could no longer operate, leading to an abrupt halt in tax payments, frozen real estate transactions, and a sharp drop in demand for local services. This downturn is particularly severe in cities heavily dependent on casinos and tourism, such as Sihanoukville, where many projects were built on expectations of continuous cash flow from foreign workers and clients linked to online scam activities. The real estate market, previously overheated by investments from groups tied to cybercrime, now faces the risk of a sharp decline, dragging down revenues from transfer taxes, land use fees, and construction permits. At the same time, incomes of workers indirectly serving these centers, including drivers, service staff, construction workers, and ancillary service providers, are falling, reducing personal income tax receipts and local purchasing power. In this context, Cambodia's budget is losing not only direct revenue, but also facing broader economic pressure as activity weakens across entire regions, especially those once seen as growth engines. Yet maintaining revenue by tolerating crime is clearly not a sustainable option. The risk of international sanctions, damage to national credibility, and potential financial isolation could prove far more costly than any short-term fiscal gains. In reality, as scam centers are dismantled, Cambodia must accept a period of significant revenue shortfall while confronting the challenge of restructuring local economies that have long depended on unofficial and illicit income sources. The ability to offset these losses will depend on how quickly the country can repurpose abandoned complexes into legitimate economic uses, attract transparent investment, and develop value-generating sectors such as manufacturing, logistics, and sustainable tourism. If this transition is slow, the resulting fiscal gap will persist, putting pressure on public spending and potentially forcing the government to raise taxes elsewhere or increase borrowing. Conversely, if the crackdown is accompanied by institutional reforms and a strategic reorientation of development policy, the short-term decline in tax revenue may become a necessary price to pay for a healthier and more sustainable fiscal structure in the long run. The core issue is not whether Cambodia will lose tax revenue, but which path it chooses to replace income once derived from the tolerance of illicit activities, with stable, legitimate economic foundations that carry far fewer risks for the future. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societal Stories.